Yo, what's up? In this short tutorial, I'll just show you how you can use the text presets you just bought. And first of all, I'll just say thank you so much for buying them. And I think you're gonna save a lot of time with them. So the first thing we'll do is just go on to titles, and then we'll just click on this arrow thing here to maximize it. And then we'll just click on the arrow on the new edit and on the animated text as well. And then we can see we have two folders here, which one of them is called the base anim and one is called new anim. And the base one is just a regular text plus node where I've added some keyframes and animation curves. And the new anim one is based on my new anim engine, where you don't need to use any keyframes at all. You can just choose the length of the animation with a slider, and then you can add a glow and a drop shadow and a stroke with just one click. You might think, why don't I just use the new anim one all the time, because it sounds a lot better. And well, it is quite a lot better in my opinion, because it's so fast to use it. But the downside is it's kind of render heavy, so if you do big fusion compositions, or if you work on a low end PC, it will take a lot of time to render it. Now I'll just show you how you use it. So I'll just maximize it, and then you can see we have a character by character, which is just characters animating on one by one, and the full text, which is that the full text animating on. And then we have the word by word, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's just it comes up word by word. But I'll just start off with the character by character. So let me just go into that one, and we'll just choose a slider plus fade in. So as you can see, when we just started, we just get a very nice slide up and fade in. So as you can see in the top here, we have the text box where we can change everything. And just a quick note, do not click on this keyframe thing here, because if you do that, the animation won't work. So don't do that. Once you have chosen the text, you can just choose the font you want. I'll just do Poppins, which is my favorite font. And we can choose the size of it. I'll make it quite big, and the position on the screen. Then we choose the tracking, which is the length between the characters, and we can choose the line spacing, which if we have multiple lines, it's just the space between the lines. And we have the V anchor and the H anchor, which is just the anchor points, and we can of course choose the angle as well if we want to. Down here is where some of the fun stuff happens. It's here we have the animation controls for both the slide and the opacity. If we just open the opacity real quick, we can see we have a start opacity, which is just the starting opacity, and we have the target opacity, which is the opacity we get. So we can just drag down the start opacity if we want it to be less visible, or we can drag up the start opacity if we want it to be kinda visible when it's not animated on. But in my opinion, the opacity one is a little bit useless. Then we have the slide one, which is where some of the cool stuff happens for this animation, where we can choose the start offset, which is just how far the animation goes. So the animation starts down here and go up to here, and then we can change the angle of it right under it. So if you just make it like something like 45, it comes from the corner down here. Do 0, it comes from the right side. And if we do 180, it comes from the left side, which is a really quick way to choose the direction of the animation. I'll just do 90 once again. Then if we scroll down a bit, we can see we have the new anim engine, where we can choose the in and out of the animation. So if we only want an in animation, or if we also want the out animation. And I'll just use pose for this example. Then we can choose the length of the animation. If I just drag it all the way up, you can see it animates on really slowly. If I drag it down, it's just a typewriter effect. And if I do 15, it's just really quick. Then we can add some offset, which is just delay in frames. So if I do 20, it's 20 frames delayed from the start of the clip. Then we have the out length, which is also just the length of the out animation. And if you want to link them together, you can just right click on it like this and just drag the expression up to this one up here. I can't really do it right now, so I'll just write in link. If I move this one, the other one moves with it if you want to link them together. And if I go to the end of the clip, the out offset will be really useful, because as you can see right now, it's not fully animated out, even though we are at the complete end of the clip. And the reason why it's not fully animated out is because it's just look at when the first character is out. So what we'll do is just drag up the offset until all of these characters is out. So let's just do like 20, and then there is a little bit of a bug where you can't really see it unless you just click on this one twice, and I will just drag it up a little bit more and click on them twice again like this. So let's just take a look at it real quick. So we have the 20 seconds delay from the start, and then the nice slide out. And we can choose the easing curve. I'll just drag the in offset all the way down again. Then we can just do out expo, which is a really smooth in animation, and we can do elastic if we want to as well. So we get this kind of a bouncy effect, and this is really cool on pop-ins and stuff like that. So I recommend you to play around and then we choose the curve up here. Then we can do custom as well, so you can make your own custom curve if you want to, which is really cool. And then down under that we have the follower controls, where you can change the delay between the characters animating on. I'll just make this one 4 for example, then we can see it's a little bit slower, and if we make it 20, it's really slow. Then we can change the order of the animation, and as you can see right now it animates on from left to right, but we can also do it so it's right to left like this, or we can do random 1 by 1. So just completely random. I'll just go back to automatic. Then we have another one here, another label, which is the color controls, where we can change the color. So I'll just make it yellow for this example. You can also do a gradient if you want to. You can use an image if you want that, and then we can add a stroke if we want that as well. We can make this one blue just to see it on the dark background, and drag up the thickness if we want to. And we can add a glow and a drop shadow as well, and some motion blur if we want that. But yeah, this was pretty much how you can use the new anim ones, and it's the same if you use the character by character or you use the word by word, it's the exact same. Then we have the base anims. I'll just quickly show you how those work. Let's just do a word by word slide up and add it, and we can change the text, and then we can see we get a word by word slide up animation. And we can choose one with the fade up. I'll just show you something quickly. So we get a nice fade up, and as I said earlier, this is just a regular Text Plus node with an animation edited onto it. If we just go into Fusion, we can go into the modifiers, and then we can see the follower in here, where we can change the delay. And then if I go over to shading, we have this opacity thing here, which just acts as a mask. If I click on one, we can see it. It's just an instance of the text here, and you can watch one of my earlier videos on YouTube on how to do a word by word fade in on the channel Victor Grubbe. Then we'll just go into shading here, and then we can see we have our opacity animation here, so it just fades on. And then I've just added a smooth animation in the spline here, and that's basically how all of these base animations work. And this will be the end of this video. Thank you so much for buying the pack and watching it to the end, and I'm sure you'll save a lot of time using this pack. It has really been a time saver for me, so have a great day out there, and I'll just see you in the next video.